Everybody, and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I just want to say this is like my third attempt at trying to record this episode. I don't know why every single time I sit down to record this episode, I get interrupted. So I'm really hoping third time's a charm and I get it right. Also, it is so hot in the UK at the minute. We are currently experiencing a heat wave, so it's like 35 degrees outside, which is disgusting. I know some people thrive in the sun. Definitely not one of those people. I hate it. It is currently 29 degrees in this room that I'm recording in. My fan is on, so forgive me if you can hear that in the background, but I literally cannot concentrate without it being on. I just wanted to say a huge congratulations to Leah. She's officially a cheetah girl, which is super exciting. And I'm so proud of her. And also to Walker, who is in the brand new Angry Birds movie. I'm so proud of both of them. They're both fantastic people, and they deserve all the success in the world because they are so talented. And also San Diego Comic Con's this week, so hopefully, well, not this week, but this month. So I'm hoping we're gonna get some sort of content for season three. There is a rumor going around. I don't believe in rumors. I will not believe anything until it's officially said by the show or the producers or whatever. There's a rumor going around saying that Titan's Curse will air the 20th of November, so that's slightly exciting if that's true. But I don't know for definite, but I will definitely keep you guys updated and hopefully maybe a teaser or something at the San Diego Comic Con. I'm quite excited. And I think it's D23 as well at some point this month, so hopefully we should be locked and loaded with Percy Jackson news. I know everybody's a little bit worried because there hasn't been much, but I promise guys it's going to be worth the wait. Anyway, in today's episode, we're going to be completing my entire book review of the Son of Neptune book. I am only reviewing 3 chapters, but there's a lot going on in these 3 chapters, so try to stay with me. I will explain everything as best as I can. This heat is messing with my mind a little bit, so I expect the odd occasional word vomit or the wrong word that comes out. I apologise for that in advance. Anyway, let's get into it. So, Chapter 50 is Percy's point of view, and it opens up with Hazel riding Arion, Frank transforming into an eagle, Tyson and Ella running into battle together while Percy rides Mrs. O'Leary. Mrs. O'Leary is such a lovely character. Like, I have genuinely missed her, and I'm so glad that Rick does this kind of like full circle thing where he brings previous characters from the series back. I think it's such like a nice little detail about his writing, and it's one of the things I really do appreciate about him as an author, that he's able to bring these beloved characters back at the right moment in time. Nothing ever feels like it was just put in there for no reason, if that makes sense. Tyson kills Ma Gasket, calling her a bad Cyclops lady. And one thing I always think about whenever I'm reading about Tyson is how much I love him as a character. He is so sweet, so brave, and like, I think Percy really needed to see someone who's one of his own. And obviously Tyson is his half brother and they share like a really special bond. So as much as I would have liked to hope that he could see Annabeth, I'm glad that Rick sort of sent Tyson his way, and Tyson finally gets to see his brother again after so long. Frank tells the fifth cohort to follow the eagle into battle, and Raina soars above the giants, riding on her Pegasus. She's such a badass character. Like, regardless of how I felt for her for having feelings for Percy, like, she is genuinely one of the bravest demigods ever. Like, I've just finished the Blood of Olympus book. I was rereading the Heroes of Olympus series, and some of the stuff she does in that book, absolutely mental. She is a crazy, crazy woman, and she pulls off these things that I don't think any other demigod can. So genuinely, like, a big fan of her as a character. I think she's absolutely brilliant. Um, the demigods and polybots are shocked to see Percy with a hellhound. Yeah, do you know what? I actually forget sometimes how what's the word that I'm looking for here? How crazy Percy might look to other people, because he is so powerful, and then also he has all these like incredible friends like O'Leary, who's a hellhound, who actually probably shouldn't be friend of Percy's, but she is, which is quite interesting. So I can't imagine like how that must look to all the Romans on the battlefield. Like, what on earth is going Percy shouts to the 12th Legion, and he points to the eagle in the sky, and thunder and lightning strike through the sky, and the enemy center's line has been charred to the oblivion. So I'm assuming that's exactly how it's written in the book, which I think is quite interesting. Like, one thing I do like about Rick is not only does he write great characters, but also he describes everything really well. So it's like the lightning, the thunder, he uses a lot of natural elements in his writing style, which I quite like. I love that he uses them to foreshadow what's kind of going to happen next. And of course, Polybird shouts for Percy to come forward, and he gives De Goat to the standard and tells Frank and Hazel and Tyson to help the fourth cohort so he can take care of the giant. Queen Hylla comes with her army of Amazon warriors. I love Hylla as a character. She's another character I really like, and the Amazon warriors I think are so cool. Like they kind of remind me of the Hunters of Artemis, which is pretty awesome, and I do like them as a character. And again, they play such a huge part in the Heroes of Olympus story. So it's nice that they all are sort of coming together and working together to defeat a common enemy. Raina gives Percy a look. Um, and when when this was written in the book, the one thing I couldn't stop thinking of is like how charming Percy is and like his ability to just riz someone in the way he looks at them or the way he speaks to them or do you know what it just comes down to the fact that he's such a genuinely lovely person and I think that kind of charisma that he has I suppose he's got a little bit of the gift of the gab and he doesn't mean it in like a flirtatious way but I feel like sometimes it does kind of get interpreted to people like that, which I think is amazing. And the best part of it is the fact that Percy doesn't realize himself what he's doing. Like he doesn't realize the effect that he has on the people around him, on women in particular. And yeah, it's just funny. Like every time I like read this book, like I see poor Raina and I feel so bad because it was like I know like she knew that Percy had a girlfriend, but it was still like I don't blame her for catching those feelings if that makes sense. Percy comes face to face with Polybotes whose touch turns water into poison, which I think is pretty cool in fairness. I think that's quite a cool concept because it's like Percy's strength kind of comes from the water. So it's like, how do you defeat something that can turn the thing that you are the strongest in into poison? Does that make sense? I think it's quite a cool concept that Rick thought of. And of course, Percy stabs him with Riptide, but he notices that he drips the blood of immortals. So he tells Polybotes to try and catch him. It means that obviously he can't defeat this giant on his own. He's gonna need someone else to back him up. So let's figure out who that person is together. Percy calls out to Terminus to help him kill the giant, and he said it's not his job. It's not in his job description, basically. And I remember just reading the book and thinking, are you actually taking the piss? Like, would you actually stand there and be like, you know what? I don't do that. You know why? Because it's not in my job description. No, you would just get up and help. At least I would hope so anyway. But I just think, like I said, it's that element of humor in serious situations. And I'm glad that Rick kind of like translates that from the first five books into these books as well. I think it's quite interesting. And he calls polyboats towards him and his friends to form like a sort of a ring around the giant. And Frank transforms into a weasel to try and get rid of the basilisks. Again, basilisks very I'm not the biggest fan of like snakes. I think they're just I think they're cool, but I wouldn't want to touch them. They kind of freak me out a little bit. It's the same with spiders. Like they're actually quite cool creatures, but I'm terrified of spiders. I am actually a child of Athena when you think about stuff like that. Like I literally a couple of months ago did not have a shower in the morning. And it's a good job I had a shower the night before because I did not want to go in the shower because there was a spider in there and there was no one to get rid of it, so I could have a shower. So I'm literally that bad. Anyway, went on a slight tangent there. Percy runs across the Cimmerian line and Terminus gets angry at the giant. The giant destroys a statue of Terminus and he gets angry and offers to help Percy kill the giant. It is so bad that it took Terminus that long to help him. It was only when a statue of his got destroyed that he was like, you know what? That's disrespectful. I'm gonna kill you, sort of thing. And of course, while the giant was distracted, Percy stabs him in the breastplate and he goes crashing into the ground. Percy smashes the god's head into the giant and he dissolves. The Romans begin chanting his name and holds his hand up in congratulations, and that's where that chapter comes to an end. You know what? He is such like I don't think Percy gets a lot of credit for how strategic he is in battle as well. I feel like he's picked a lot of that up from Annabeth. Like he knows how to. I don't think he runs into a situation blind anymore. I think he thinks a lot about what he's going to do before he does it. And I think that's definitely his girlfriend's effect kind of rubbing off on him a little bit. And it's nice to see him be part of a different legion. Like, obviously, he's been part of the Greek army for so long, and like fighting alongside the Romans, I think it's quite difficult. And I think the fact that he's managed to do it and like he's managed to create his own family away from home is quite nice. Okay, so chapter 51, again, Percy's point of view. Second to last chapter we're going to be talking about. And it's still Percy's point of view, and it opens up at the Feast of Fortuna. Kinsey apparently tried to make a move on Percy, but he turned her down for Annabeth. And do you know what? I remember like reading that in the book. I was actually thinking, how many people is it now? Like, so I've got like, there's Annabeth, Rachel, Calypso, Nico, Raina, and now Kinsey. Like, this six people is not normal. At least I don't think it's normal anyway. I think I'm missing someone from that list actually. Anyway, I know. It's like this guy be pulling people like left, right, and center. It's honestly crazy. Completely interrupted. Let's try again. So I think the last thing I was talking about was Percy's Rose. So yeah, completely unmatched. Definitely have not made a fictional character that picks up as many women as Percy does. Okay, so then Raina announces that Percy is a praetor of the battlefield, and Octavian announces good omens for the year, and Percy gets his first Roman symbols and medals, which is actually quite cool to imagine. Because you know what? The Roman lifestyle is so different from the Greeks. Like they're so like put together, like the military, and they are so well organized. Whereas like the Greek army is all about yes, they are organized, but not like to this level, and they're all about the enthusiasm on the battlefield. And I just love it. I think there's such a lovely like juxtaposition between the two camps, and it just means that like two opposites, like the two polar opposites, but together they make something that's perfect, which I think is quite a lovely way of looking at it. Percy and the rest of his friends go down to the city after the feast is over, and Terminus welcomes Percy and calls him a praetor, which is obviously a very big title to have on the battlefield. And, Percy should be really proud of himself. He did that all on his own without knowing anyone, and now he's made a name for himself, which is quite nice. Terminus calls Julia and tells Hazel that she is going to be Percy Jackson when she grows up, which is so sweet. Like it's amazing that now, like Percy Jackson, a kid who was so originally lost and broken and didn't know who he was, is now like an inspiration to so many children. And it's nice because like he inspired me a lot when I was growing up as well, because it was just like this was the one world that I felt like I had a place in. And I'm glad that he still gives that feeling to other people, if that makes sense. And I know that pretty much all of us listening are huge fans of Percy and have probably grown up with him, so it's nice to see that. Percy notices that Frank and Hazel wanted some time alone, so he tells them to sort of go ahead. And he knows how sort of Grover felt being sandwiched between him and Annabeth all those years ago. Like he was what I call a golden third wheel, and he understands that obviously the two of them probably just want some alone time, so he sort of backs off, which respect to him for even noticing that as well. um he then goes back to camp, and he says that he's excited for tomorrow because Annabeth will be coming to get him tomorrow, which is so sweet, and it made me so happy. I was like really excited because I was just like, I just need them to be together now. Like I've had enough of two books where neither of them are together, so I need them back together now. And of course, Raina did offer him Jason's home, but Percy refused, and he went back to the fifth cohort barracks and passed out. Percy has a dream of him carrying Juno across the river, and she asks him if he wants to slap her. Well, yes. Can I give her a slap as well? Because this woman is just, oh, she's really gripes on me like nobody else does. I can tell you that. And he says that he does something better, and he dumps her in the river. Of course. Thank you. Everybody was thinking it, and he actually got a chance to do it. I love you, Percy. You are the best. And he questions her for why she stole 8 months of his life, and she tells him about how Jason managed to release her from her prison. I still don't understand why this couldn't just be a conversation. I don't understand what the need was to wipe two people's memories and swap their lives over. Like, could you not have just wrote them a letter, an email, an iris message, literally anything. But I suppose Rick likes to make it interesting. Um, and she tells Percy that she got rid of him because he would have been a distraction. Seriously? Of all the excuses she could have come up with, that's literally the best she could come up with on the spot. Absolutely unbelievable. And she tells him that Jason has earned the trust of the Greeks the same way he did with the Romans. And she calls him the glue that will unite the seven. Well, yeah, he is like glue. He does hold people together, but I don't think that there was a need to rip him away from his home to prove that point to him. I think he kind of already knew that, but sure. And then Jupiter wants to be convinced that the demigods are worthy of fighting at his side. Sorry, can we just like back up a second? Just back up. Does nobody remember the Battle of Manhattan? Like with everything that happened with Kronos, like when these demigods who had been ignored by their parents, like a whole war was started because their parents didn't deem them as worthy. Just gonna ignore the fact that that happened and like they just needed to cause another problem in order for the children to prove themselves again, when actually it's not even the children that should be proving themselves, it's the parents. But sure, teeny bit annoying, but that's okay. And she tells him that only if they close the doors of death will Jupiter be convinced. Absolutely freaking fantastic. Yeah, you wanna convince Jupiter? Why don't you go into the deadliest parts of Tartarus and shut the doors of death? It's a suicide mission. Why on earth would that ever be the best way? So if they think that the best way of proving demigod worthiness is by sending them on a suicide mission where they could die, they're not going to have an army at this rate. But yeah, sure. We'll let it go. Juno tells him that Annabeth is a troublemaker. Oh, that really annoyed me. I can't even describe to you how much that irritated me when I read that. I was like, seriously? And of course, Percy jumps to her defense, saying that she is the one he wants to back him up on this quest. Oh, love him. She tells him that Annabeth has an impossible task ahead of her in Rome. So basically, Percy gets wound up and he slams Juno with a fist of water, and she disappears. Oh, I love a man who defends his woman. It's honestly just. Oh, and I'm glad that that's the way the chapter ended. I thought it was quite funny. She deserves all that and much more. So the last chapter of this review, I actually can't believe this is happening. We're at the last chapter of this book. Honestly crazy. Chapter 52 is of course the next morning, and again we're still in Percy's point of view, and he wakes up and he goes for a walk around and he sees Tyson and Mrs. O'Leary sleeping in the stables. Oh my god, that's so cute. I just imagined that for a second and it was a really cute sight. Percy tells Frank and Hazel, of course, about his dream, and Mars has sent Frank his mother's favourite book and asks if Percy has learned any respect for Mars yet. Is he having a laugh? Like, genuinely, like that's never gonna happen. Like the few times that Percy has met Mars or Ares in his great form, it's never been good. So I don't understand why he would ever respect him, but sure. Percy is hoping that Frank and Hazel have started dating. Yeah, trust me, all of us are hoping for the same thing, mate. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to wait 4 books to get to that point. Waiting for Percabeth was hard enough. Waiting for Frank and Hazel is not even an option. Um, he asks Hazel if she's heard anything from Pluto, and she thinks that Thanatos um, giving her a free pass from death and not taking her back to the grave was a gift from her dad. Fair enough, he's given her the gift of life. He's allowed her to keep living even though she should be dead. So I suppose that's good enough. Frank and Hazel are doubting that they are part of the Seven, and Percy says that he isn't leaving them behind. Oh, I love them. Do you know what? I do love my original trio, but if we're talking about like trios in like the new books, definitely Percy, Frank, and Hazel are definitely one of my favorite trio. They just work so well together, and they've kind of got this like easiness that comes with working together. Like they don't have to explicitly tell each other what to do. They kind of just know they're kind of on the same wavelength, which is what I like. And Frank suggests to take Ella with them for safety, and Tyson comes in with a scroll from Leo, delivered by an aura, and Leo asks them for safe passage into camp. They're on their way, guys. I'm so excited. Like honestly, when I just hearing Leo's name and like the fact that he was asking for passage, I was like, I'm getting closer and closer to Percabeth being together, and it was making me so excited. And I'm just yeah, I just need them to be together. I feel like it was such a hard book. Like it was such a hard book to read because they were separate for so long. that like now I was getting towards the end, I was like, yes, come on, give me something, literally anything. Hazel says that that Leo is Sammy. Big plot reveal there. I was shocked because I was not expecting that at all. I was like, really? And it's amazing because you'll get to see like the impact of this plot twist in the next book, like Hazel believing that Leo is Sammy. But we will talk more about that when we get there. He tells them that they need to warn the rest about a warship that's heading their way, which is obviously Leo's ship. Octavian is basically being a bit of an asshole, but Percy just kind of lets him carry on. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, my girl's coming to get me. Like, you just carry on being who you are. Percy tells the Romans that them and the Greeks have to be united in order for them to close the doors of death. He tells them that he fought Kronos and that Jason is coming back, and he swears on his life that he's telling the truth. That's a big oath to make. It's almost the same as making an oath on the river Styx. And it's so amazing how he has to re- like unite these two camps. Like, yeah, Jason plays a role in it, but Percy has the most important thing, and he really is the glue that either makes or breaks this allegiance, if that makes sense. A messenger rushes in telling him that a ship has arrived. Rayna tells them to hold fire and greet their new friends. And he tells them that he is going to introduce them to his family. And I got so emotional because that's the last line in the book. And I remember like tearing up because I was like, oh my God, like this is the moment I've been waiting for. And I'm so lucky that I didn't have to wait like everybody else for the next book. Like all the books were out when I read Heroes of Olympus for the first time. So I remember just grabbing the Mark of Athena off my shelf and I was like, yes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see Percy and Annabeth all back together. Okay, so let's kind of round this up with my final thoughts and feelings on this book and on this segment of the book. I love Tyson so much, and I honestly can't understand why anybody couldn't possibly love him because he's so amazing. And it's so nice to see him and Percy be reunited together. It really warms my heart. Queen Hylla, of course, came through and she managed to send Otera to the underworld. Good for her. She fought really, really hard and she did amazing. And I think the Amazons coming in this book was just, oh, it was just perfect. Like I couldn't have asked for something better than that. Um, to be honest, like the way the whole battle was described was insane. Like Rick's attention to detail is perfection. Like no stone is ever left unturned with him, and I love it. The way Percy killed the giant by smashing Terminus's head into it, slightly disgusting, gross, but you really do see how much more darker and mature these books are getting, and it's the first of many descriptions of a gruesome sort of death, and it was kind of badass. I can't lie. I liked it. It was a very, very good way of defeating the giant. Of course, Percy's dream about Juno, I honestly hate her. Like, I couldn't hate her anymore for what she put Percy through. And I'm glad that he got that moment to just sort of knock her out a little bit. It was quite fun. And, I honestly would have done the same in his position. I feel like I got a little bit of satisfaction out of him doing it as well. And I love the way that Rick is sort of planting the seeds for the seven. He's given everybody incredible backstories, incredible depth. And it will be nice to see how they all sort of like come together like pieces of a puzzle and just fit and just work, which will be quite nice. Of course, I was happy to hear when Percy was defending Annabeth against Juno. She's no troublemaker. She's actually one of the reasons why the Seven is so special and why they do complete their quest. So I suggest she keeps her mouth shut. And Leo, of course, telling them that the Argo will be arriving soon. My Percabeth heart, honestly, my heart was beating so loudly. I was like, this is the moment. This is the moment I've been waiting for, and it's finally happening. And finally, the messenger, when they said that they are here, honestly, I was probably just as excited as Percy was. And the fact that he describes the people on that ship, like the only people that he could be sure about is Annabeth on that ship. But the fact that he talks about like Piper and Leo and Jason as a family and he hasn't even met them yet is so lovely. Overall, it was just a fantastic book and I definitely enjoyed it. And it was nice to have Percy back to being his normal self. And yeah, it was just great. And it's the start of a new journey. And I can't wait to talk more through this journey with you guys. Things start getting intense in the next book. So I can't wait to share all of that with you. My girl goes on her first solo quest. So I can't wait to talk about that with you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Sorry, it's a bit of a I don't know if it's a long one. It might be a lot shorter than the other ones I've done actually, because I only had to review 3 chapters. But like I said, when we come back next week, we will be starting a new book together, Mark of Athena. I'm super excited. It is probably my favorite book in the Heroes of Olympus series. That or House of Hades. I think both of them are pretty good. But we will have that discussion when we get there. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all your lovely comments and anybody who follows me on Instagram, on Threads, YouTube, Spotify. I'm so unbelievably grateful for your support. Don't forget, all episodes of the podcast are available to stream on Spotify and on my YouTube channel. Both links are in the description box below. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Threads to be the first to know when a new episode goes live. And for any Percy Jackson information, I'm hoping this month we're going to get really, really lucky, guys. I feel it. I'm manifesting that it happens. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and I will be speaking to you very soon. Mwah. Bye.